Welcome to Contemporary Retirement. Contemporary Retirement is a public interest program focused on the retirement community. Every program has segments on legal, financial, and health issues affecting the retirement community. Contemporary Retirement is sponsored in part by a major grant from the Family Heritage Trust Company.
Contemporary Retirement is sponsored by Family Heritage Trust Company. The Family Heritage Trust Company is an independent bank chartered trust company established by local professionals to provide fiduciary services including fee-based investment advice, trust services, retirement planning, and tax planning. The Family Heritage Trust Company is committed to client service in our communities. For more information, call the Family Heritage Trust Company at 301-631-5900.
Contemporary Retirement is sponsored in part by a grant from R. Thomas Murphy & Associates, P.C. R. Thomas Murphy & Associates is one of Franklin County's leading law firms, emphasizing estate, trust, elder law, and medical assistance planning.
Welcome to the Is It Legal feature on Contemporary Retirement. Is It Legal focuses on the legal issues affecting the retirement community. With me today is Tom Murphy from the R. Thomas Murphy Law Firm with offices in Waynesboro, Chambersburg, and McCollumsburg. Welcome to the show, Tom.
Good morning.
Tom, we started last week on a sequence that we as elder law attorneys, because of the lack of available expertise in the rural areas, find ourselves doing some of the work that geriatric case managers would have traditionally done.
Exactly, and so we serve as a clearinghouse of information on not only the types of services and care that's available, but also how to finance it, how to pay for it.
So we talked a little bit last week about in-home care. People thinking hiring people is cheaper, and and it comes with risk. You have tax issues, you have workers' compensation issues. The alternative is to use agencies, and when you start using agencies at 24 hours per day, it easily could be twice as expensive as a nursing home.
Yeah, that's a good point. So you're really not saving money if you're trying to do it properly. I mean, if you have the resources, that's a good way to customize the care, but again, you're paying for something that would otherwise be inclusive in the nursing home cost.
And one of the things that we're very concerned about is preservation of resources does not necessarily mean preserving an inheritance, but it does mean making certain that our clients, then that older generation, have adequate resources in order to take care of themselves the rest of their lives. Well, when I see some of these in-home care programs, they're absolutely blowing through mountains of resources, and these people don't understand. They're actually putting themselves at risk that they're not going to be able to take care of themselves.
Well, that's a good point. So you got to be shrewd about how you're using the resources and cherry picking those programs that are out there to help supplement those costs and allow you to keep your resources for ongoing care in the future.
So we pointed out the only readily available program to assist in in-home care is for the aid and attendance program through the VA. And the problem is it has financial restrictions. There's a bunch of games playing that we see people engage in out there that oftentimes involve transferring of assets, selling of annuities, and it is very evident that the VA is getting ready to clamp down on that.
Yeah, there's a massive set of rules coming through, and so people have to be aware of that and be careful of that. And worse yet, some of those games end up causing problems when you go further downstream where you're looking at Medicaid eligibility.
Almost every one of those games that they engage in will foul up Medicaid eligibility, and so as you look at that, you're looking at trying to solve a transitory problem that may only be a year or so. You're not getting that much in benefits, but in the meantime, assets have been transferred out to other people, and many times these bureaus that are purportedly going to help you get compensated by selling you a product that then restricts your ability to get it back in order to be able to do a Medicaid case.
Right, and so you got to be very careful that what you're doing now won't affect your eligibility later for a completely different program that's actually more appropriate for your circumstances.
And so one of the things that we do, and sometimes we, clients don't like it, but we have reality checks. We talk about your plan. We talk about what it actually means. Are you going to actually be able to execute this plan? And part of the driver is not to try to get them to do something, but to understand the risks associated with that plan and be sure that the family's in a position to sustain those risks.
Well, that's a good point, because oftentimes people come in and they want to do something, got to do something. And the reality is, in many cases, you don't need to do anything except know what your choices are and then execute at the right time.
So in that situation, we're talking to the family about an in-home care plan. We're differentiating between using agencies versus private pay for individuals. There's risks associated with it, and people need to be aware that, you know, when you're at 80 years old, these resources have to last you the rest of your life. You can't go back to work, which means you cannot be engaging in a strategy that puts you unnecessarily at risk.
Right, and you just don't want to be blowing resources on something that we could potentially supplement out of other sources, and not engage in things which may completely impoverish you and then cut off all sources of aid.
You know, one of the things that we're very caution people about is we can't get paid to assist people in acquiring for the VA benefit, but we do it. I do it because my dad was career military, and it's just a matter of honoring, you know, his military service. But when you're looking at a private agency that's doing it, they're getting paid somehow. And frankly, more often than not, it's a commission sale of a product, and that product, as we have previously mentioned, will oftentimes totally interfere with the ability to qualify for the nursing home bill in the future, which is 5 times the size of the benefit that we're getting from the VA.
Well, that's a good point. So you got to ask, you know, why are these people doing this? You know, we're guiding and coaching people. We're not selling a product. So, you know, at least we can give nice, clear, unobstructed views as to what's going to happen, what the consequences are, pros and cons, without selling something that's going to bite you later on.
So once again, you know, we encourage people to consult with a qualified elder law attorney and make certain that these strategies are not solving one problem in the name of creating a bigger problem.
Right, just do it right the first time.
Tom, as always, thanks for taking time to appear on the program.
You're welcome.
More from Contemporary Retirement after these messages.
Few things in life are as important as family. Leave your insurance worries to us. Write Gardner. Call or visit our website to learn how we can make insurance simple and more affordable.
Every life that meets its end leaves a heart for love to mend. Sister, brother, family, friends are left to carry on. When the loss seems more than you can bear, it's nice to know that we'll be there at Double Safe Fiery Funeral Home. We care.
Call Ed Lowe to help put your mind at ease.
Welcome to a special guest feature on Contemporary Retirement. This segment focuses on various issues which are of importance to the retirement community. With me today is Noel Fridgen, Communications Director, Humane Society of Washington County, along with Kayla. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us both.
Well, you know, obviously we know from history that people who are living by themselves oftentimes do better by having a little socialization.
Totally, and pets are a great avenue for that socialization. Whether it be a cat or a dog, they just provide some companionship that's, you know, unlike any other. It's unlike any that you'll have with a human. There's just a special bond that can form there, and it's there's so many great benefits to having a pet, just for the mental aspect and physical as well. You know, they definitely just really can enhance the quality of your life.
Now, one of the challenges for a person who is an older person is sometimes looking at a dog that might have a life expectancy that they're thinking is beyond that person's ability to think they could support the dog for the remainder of their lives.
Yes, that is true. So that's something you want to consider if you are choosing to get an animal or adopt from the shelter. You know, that's the benefit of getting a senior pet, that they, you know, only have a limited amount of years. It's not like they're a puppy or a, you know, a young kitten and are going to have 15 or so years to go. They have a shorter lifespan too, and a lot of times they are harder to find homes for, just because of their age. A lot of families want younger animals, so you know that's a great type of animal to get, is a senior for yourself.
I know as a person getting up in years, I have no tolerance for trying to potty train or dog train a dog, but in this case, I'm looking at Kayla, looks like she's ready to go.
Hey, and even at my age, I don't have the patience to house train, so you're not alone there. there. But yeah, Kayla is an example of an animal that's, you know, she's 7 years old, so she's a little bit older, and she's fully trained. She knows some tricks even, and as you can see, she's very calm. So she's not gonna have that crazy rambunctious personality that a lot of younger animals do, and you know, that's definitely something that a lot of people prefer, is the calmer animals.
And then you're also looking at sometimes a person's getting up in years, begin to have their own mobility issues, thinking, I really can't have to walk a dog.
Exactly, and in that case, cats would be a good option. Cats pretty much take care of themselves as long as you provide the litter box and, you know, standard veterinary care. They're pretty self-sufficient, but they do provide still that company and that companionship that you're looking for. So, and then a dog like Kayla, I'm sure she would like to go on some walks, but if you get maybe a smaller dog or, you know, one that's a little bit older, they don't even necessarily need that anymore. They're content just laying around being a couch potato.
And so what part you're doing there at the Humane Society is help getting people matched to the appropriate animal for their needs.
Yes, we do have a Meet Your Match program, and it just assesses your lifestyle as the adopter versus what the animal needs are, and we just make sure there's a good match there. And we do have a program called Silver Lining for Seniors, and that is funded completely by donations, so the fund amount can vary, but it provides financial assistance to Washington County residents, senior citizens that qualify, and it helps them with adoption fees, landlord fees, and if there's maybe some medical bills that they're struggling to pay for an animal they adopted from our shelter, then we can help financially with that.
Okay, and so then as you were talking, you were going to not only look at dogs, but cats as well. And I know you probably have a menagerie of other stuff there, maybe, that might suit a person as well.
Yes, we have, well, cats in general also. We have lots of senior cats that end up needing homes. And again, people just tend to prefer the kittens. So we are so happy when people are willing to open their homes to the many senior cats that we do get in the shelter.
All right, and then you actually have a special program on Fridays. Tell us what that's all about.
Yes, we do. So because we do have so many cats to find homes for, we waive adoption fees for cats every single Friday throughout the year. So if you're looking to adopt a cat and don't want that initial adoption fee, don't want that obstacle, please come visit us on Fridays. We're more than happy to adopt out to you with no adoption fee.
And what's important is that they've been assessed, they've been appropriately vaccinated and so forth, so that you shouldn't be coming with any obvious immediate health issues.
Exactly. Every animal that is adopted from our shelter has been spayed or neutered, microchipped. If they would get lost, we'll be able to reunite you easier with that, and up to date on vaccinations. And if there is any sort of medical issue that we are aware of at the shelter, they're usually already on medication for it. We'll send you home with that medication. And another plus for adopters is you get a free complimentary visit with a participating veterinarian within 30 days. So, you know, you'll get that initial checkup by an outside vet as well for free.
And so we can see here that Kayla seems like she's pretty relaxed.
Oh yeah, she's just, you know, loving this. It's just a relaxed little morning for her.
So what would be their phone number if they want to get more information?
So our number is 301-733-2060.
Well, Noel and Kayla, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having us.
More from Contemporary Retirement after these messages.
Tranquility at Fredericktown Assisted Living and Memory Care provides a warm, home-like atmosphere that promotes daily life enrichment. At Tranquility, our medical director is a geriatric physician. Our professionals support and understand the various stages associated with Alzheimer's and dementia. We have on-site physical, occupational, and speech therapists, as well as around-the-clock licensed nurses. For more information, give Tranquility at Fredericktown a call today, because everyone deserves great care. Let us do the caregiving so you and your loved one can embrace life again.
Guys, I thought you were supposed to be working in the yard.
But Dad, just one more bid on HurleyAuctions.com.
If you haven't visited HurleyAuctions.com, you don't know what you're missing. Whether you're buying or selling, antique cars, tractors, boats, or real estate, you can do it all at HurleyAuctions.com.
Get to know Dr. Carrie Hesley at Diagnostic Imaging Services.
What I find most rewarding is caring for women through our Women's Imaging Center. We have a caring staff that will ease patients through an ultrasound, bone densitometry, breast biopsy, or mammogram. Our health team is sensitive to emotions involved in women's imaging and understands that every woman is at risk for breast cancer. Providing the community with a center that is so dedicated to breast health and the imaging needs of women is something special.
DIS Women's Imaging Center, providing women with progressive care.
Welcome to Contemporary Health Scene. Contemporary Health Scene focuses on the health issues affecting the retirement community. With me today is Paul Sweeney, President of Quality First Insurance. Welcome to the show, Paul.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
Now, part of the reason we have you on the health segment is your agency primarily specializes in senior health insurance products.
That's really all we do.
And so we're in this period here called the annual election period. What the heck does that mean?
That's a time frame for individuals that are on Medicare to make decisions about their Medicare prescription drug plans, and also something called Medicare Part C.
All right, well, let's do the annual election period. You know, first of all, people believe that I like my plan, I don't have to change it. And as I point out to everybody, if you have a Part D plan, this means you. You must evaluate that plan during this annual election period.
Right, and it may be that you can stay with that plan. We're not saying that you have to change plans, we're saying that you have to pay attention to those plans, because the plans can change, and it's not that they can change, they will change.
It's guaranteed they're going to change. As I characterize it, is the insurance company's favorite carnival game, the shell game, you know, where we're changing premiums, co-pays, initial deductibles, formulary lists. They are going to change. We had a major change this year that one health insurer dropped Eliquis. And the fact is that people who failed to pay attention, which was covered in 17, are staring in the crosshairs of a several $100 a month prescription because they didn't pay attention.
Right. When you get that packet, I'm sure everybody's gotten it by now, you need to pay attention to, there's 4 parts of it. There's a premium section, which almost everybody looks at. They
focuses on it, laser vision.
So if the premium didn't change much, they're going to assume that the plan didn't change much, which is a big mistake, because the first thing you do is you look at what the premium is. The second thing you look at is whether there is a deductible change or not. Some plans...
So we had plans a couple of years ago go from $100 deductible to $350 deductible. That's $350 coming out of your pocket in the first couple months of the plan that had nothing to do with changing the premium.
In 2019, your premium can be as high as $415. It could be as low as 0. It could be any number in between. So look and see what it was last year. Look and see what it is this year. The third part of it is your copays. That's what you pay when you get a prescription.
So you may have had a co-tier on a drug that was $20 and now it's $50. Well, that's $30 a month.
You need to pay attention. You need to look. There's a chart in the back. It's a little bit confusing because all the drugs are put into a different category, a numbered category. They're called tiers, T-I-E-R-S. There will be, the low end is a tier 1 medication, the high end would be a tier 5 medication. As a general rule, the higher the tier number, the higher your copay is going to be. So if you see all your medications are tier 1 medications, that's probably a good thing. If you see some of them have changed from a tier 1 to a tier 3 or a tier 4, that's probably not a good thing.
So even though you may find all of your prescriptions on the formulary list of that plan, it doesn't mean that the costs are still the same.
Right. You just need to look, and it'll tell you in the plan what the different copays are going to be. But the most important part, I believe, is the formulary. Okay, the formulary is a list of medications that your plan is going to cover in the upcoming year. Do not assume that because your medication was covered in 2018, it's going to be covered in 2019. Many times they change. And the way you find out is to look in that book, that 40 pages that you referenced before. They're going to send you a list of all the medications that are covered by the plan. And if you don't see that medication in the plan, that should be an alarm going off. And it does happen. Like you mentioned, Eliquis on several plans was covered last year, and suddenly in 2018 it was not.
Now, you have several ways of doing it. You can do it yourself. You can go to the Medicare.gov website, Medicare.gov, click on prescription plans, type in your zip code, type in your prescription list. You can go to the Commission on Aging or Area Agency on Aging. They have health insurance advocates who are there to help you do it. And so, or you can do it yourself, but in any event, you need to do it. And it doesn't matter how much you like this year's plan, it is guaranteed it's going to change.
Absolutely, Mike. This means you.
You know, one of the challenges we also have here is people thinking these Part C plans are really a great idea. They're, first of all, Medicare HMOs. You're out of Medicare, you're now using a private insurer, and we've seen the consequences of that a lot already. But some of them have prescription plans attached to them, and you cannot have a separate Part D plan from the prescription plan if you elect into that Part C. So you better make certain that not only is the cost of the health insurance, you know, something of a benefit to you, but also that that prescription plan works.
That's an excellent point. If you have a Medicare Part C plan that includes prescription drug benefits and you mistakenly sign up for a Part D plan, you will be removed from your Part C plan right away.
Paul, as always, thanks for taking time to appear on the program.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
More from Contemporary Retirement after these messages.
The Community Foundation strives to be a forward-thinking organization.
We are assessing needs, working with donors to see things differently,
so that Frederick County can be its best. It's a wonderful place for all of us to live, work, and play.
We look forward to addressing the future needs of the community.
Visit frederickcountygives.org and learn how you can start to see things differently too.
Albright, Crumbacker, Mal & Itel are a full-service firm that provides elder care services including managing incoming bills, bill payment, depositing checks, balancing bank statements, and preparing, planning, and filing personal tax returns. Put your mind at ease and call us today.
Welcome to the Making Sense feature on Contemporary Retirement. This segment focuses on various financial issues affecting the retirement community. With me today is Pete Alexander, a partner in the regional accounting firm of Albright, Crumbacker, Mal & Itel, with offices in Hagerstown, Martinsburg, West Virginia. Welcome to you.
Great to be here, Mike.
You know, when we talk about tax planning, most people think tax planning begins on February 1st when they get their W-2s and their various 1099s and so forth. When does tax planning begin?
Well, technically, you should be tax planning all year long. The problem of waiting till February 1st is the year's over and there's really nothing you can do. So if you haven't been doing it all year long, you should start doing it now.
And this means you, because what we're talking about right now is we're in the last quarter of the year. The opportunities to look at your income and perhaps use it to your best advantage, and even more importantly, this is going to be the first year with basically the new tax law fully in place, and people need to understand some of their basic premises in the past may differ. For instance, itemizing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, as we started out, they don't think about their taxes until they come and get their tax return done. At that point, it's too late because you're deemed a cash basis taxpayer, which means you need to have written the check before 12/31 for it to count as a 12/31 expenditure. Likewise, you need to pull the money out of your IRA by 12/31. You need to recognize stock losses to offset your stock gains by 12/31. Once you show up at your accountant's office in February or March, there's nothing they can do to go back in time to rectify anything you did during the year. So that does mean you need to look at everything now. And you're correct when you pointed out that with the new tax law changes, you need to, even if you always looked at it and thought you had a handle on it, you need to look at it again because some of these changes may not leave you where you think you are.
And we also, you know, we have sort of a standard set of numbers that we use for a number of years that single people with X amount of income were not likely to pay taxes. That number has changed, so there could be a higher number that single people may not pay taxes, which would then give them an opportunity to perhaps recognize more money out of an IRA or out of an annuity that might in essence come to them tax-free if they're paying attention.
Yeah, I mean, we have a much higher standard deduction. We basically have a $24,000 standard deduction if you're married, but if you're over 65, husband and wife each get another $1,300, so you're up to $26,600 as a standard deduction. If that's not good news enough, your next $20,000 of income, once you get that first $26,000 free, the next $20,000 is basically only taxed at 10%. So you have the ability to have $40,000 of income coming in and basically only pay a little bit of tax. So
And
like
it's not
we said,
10% on the 46,000. It's 10% on the 20,000 over the 26.
Right. The first 26 is going to be free. So you're going to get that for free. But if you are doing some planning and you do want to get some other money out of your retirement accounts or cash in some savings bonds, then know that after that, you're only in a 10% bracket for a long time. And even more importantly, capital gains, as long as you're in those lower brackets, you could have up to, if the only income you had was capital gain, you could have $70,000 of capital gain income and pay a 0%.
For the federal rates.
For the federal rates. Yeah, you're going to have a little bit of Maryland. You're going to have about 7-8% Maryland, but your federal is going to be 0. So there's a lot of things that people can be doing prior to the year end that maybe will help their financial future. It may not just be about saving taxes. It may be that you may be able to make the move you wanted to make without it costing you any taxes.
And part of the challenge that we have here, and savings bonds are a real challenge in this retirement generation, because many of these people bought these bonds weekly as a part of their employment, but most of those bonds were bought 30 years ago and more from now. They actually had very favorable interest rates, but the problem is there's a tax liability that is associated with bonds that never goes away.
Yeah, a lot of people get the mistaken impression that U.S., and we're talking about U.S. in this specific scenario, U.S. savings bonds are tax-free. Well, they are tax-free for the state. The state cannot tax the interest on your U.S. savings bonds, but the interest is taxable for the federal government. People forget about that because as that interest accrues, you don't have to pay tax. You can keep putting it off, and then when you cash in the savings bonds, then you must pay and recognize all that income as interest income and pay tax.
And the challenge is that you're going to pay the taxes on that interest if you cash it in yourself. But if your children inherit it, they're also going to pay the taxes on that interest. That bill never goes away.
Yeah, that's much like IRA income, that the tax on interest savings bonds never goes away. Even the next generation has to pay it.
And oftentimes when we look at families, who should be paying the tax? The older parent or the children in the prime of their earning years?
Well, we just said the older parent gets $26,000 tax-free, and then they get the next $20,000 at 10%. So it's probably always going to be cheaper for the parent to pay that tax.
Pete, as always, thanks for taking time to appear on the program.
Great to be here, Mike.
Thank you from Contemporary Retirement.
Remember a more carefree time? Leave your insurance worries to us, Wright Gardner. Call or visit our website to learn how we can make insurance simple and more affordable.
These days, it seems like everything's online, and filling out claim forms and receiving and paying bills online isn't always easiest. That's why we at Quality First Insurance encourage you to just give us a call. Let us help.
Hi there, I'm Paul Sweeney with Quality First Insurance, and it's still just this simple. Our offices are open every weekday where you'll be able to call and speak to real, live people.
No detail was missed. I'm so glad that I turned to Quality First Insurance.
I've recommended Quality First Insurance to my friends who've been just as satisfied.
If you're not happy with what you're paying for Medigap, or more importantly, not happy with your service, give us a try. We're locally owned, and we take the time to provide you with the best. We are Quality First Insurance, and our mission is to provide quality products to quality people. Pick up the phone and give us a call today at 800-745-1411.